Welcome to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM Studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillan. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. Joining us today, repeat, it's got to be quarterly, local legend, Mr. Cole Foils.
How we doing, buddy?
Great, man. How are you?
Good. Coming off a little bit of a cold, but we're on the tail end of it, so I'm feeling a lot better.
Good. I got to see a lot of your work this year with the dogs.
Yeah,
man.
It was pretty neat after my first year of dog training, going into duck and goose and even snow goose and everything, and watching all the work come together. And luckily, I got to go along with a lot of these dogs and work them. So not only get pictures and videos, which is cool, but actually getting to sit there firsthand and seeing if all that blood, sweat, and tears going into those dogs paid off. And it did. We put out some fine products this year.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah. So I saw a Bub's dog and I saw
Ranger
Pino's
Danger
dogs.
Murphy. Yep.
And they, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you heard little parts of this, but I've been watching my nephew's dog. And getting him into retrieving. This dog is, he's got a education from Colorado State. And he's no experience. And to see the difference and how important that training is, and to get an understanding of, because I've never really had a waterfowl. I've never had an itch to have a retriever.
Oh, yeah. You've always went with one of us or whatever, And
it was just part of it. And I love dogs. Dogs are great. And I, probably mess with them too much, play with them too much while we're out there. But I just never really had that bug. And some of the stuff, like the visual and like the retrieve, I think a lot of dogs probably have that just genetically programmed in their DNA.
A lot of them, yeah. And dogs, all dogs are like, human athletes. Some of them's a little more athletic than the next one, or some of them's got a little more drive than the next one. But them labs, man, they're that's what they're born to do.
It's having that emotional attachment with a dog. It's my nephew's dog. He had the ambition to get him out there retrieving a little bit. And he lives in Alaska, right?
Yeah.
With having that and just kind of wanting to do that from my nephew, and then it just got more addicting and more
and even though he hasn't went through, duck dog school or nothing, one thing you were doing that you didn't even know that you were doing correctly is just getting 3/4 of dog training is repetition. And whether it was a good day or a bad day, you were taking him with you. He was just getting his reps in. Just from getting out of the truck to getting in the blind, that's a big deal.
He went from not having a clue, like, what are we doing here, to all of a sudden, like, the boomsticks went off, let me out. But where it's where I was hamstrung and would be hamstrung from like taking him on, future hunts would be like the dog box training, some of the obedience, and seeing your dogs that you trained and how well they did. They knew their spots on the floor, if you will. They knew where to go.
Yep.
How long to stay there.
One of the biggest steps in my training is kennel conditioning, and I will teach dogs to use ramps. So you teach them to use pit boxes, dog blinds, stands, stumps, logs, you name it. Everybody hunts a little different, and in a dog's lifetime, he's going to go a lot of different places. So instead of fighting it, have him ready for it, and making sure he's completely comfortable, whether that's you calling him to the blind to kennel or you're out in the decoys and a group of geese was to come and you got to send him to it. It just makes everybody's life a little easier, and that pup's a little more prepared.
And man, these dogs, they're into it. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean, they know what they're going for. Their retrieve is like the greatest thing ever.
Oh,
to them.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's like you mentioned, Bub's dog and Pino's dog, Ranger and Murphy.
Yeah,
they were two completely different style dogs, but the way them two come together, and I got to hunt over them a bunch too this year, and it was a lot of fun to watch them two. I trained 23 dogs last year, and there was a lot of good ones, and I'm probably leaving out a couple, but them two right there were in the top 5. I will say that.
Okay,
I will say that, and they got it. They're set for life now.
Murph, we got a Goose because of Murph.
Yeah, I heard he flushed one for you. Yeah. You guys were sitting in the back of the blind BS, and I heard he went on point.
Yeah, exactly.
I had my older dog Rock over the years. I've had him jump out like that and think, what the world is he doing? And he's caught him. Went out and caught him. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Got one of his own. Got one for himself.
That's awesome. So how you've been on here and talked about it, but you kind of got the itch. You started training last year.
Yeah,
24 dogs last year.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Is that like 2 semesters?
So what I was averaging last year from a complete start to finish, and I did everything from starting pups, getting them ready, to maybe some correction work, some tune-up work on some older dogs. But for these, starting out, you got a pup, you bring him to me. We're going to do obedience. We're going to do kennel conditioning, retrieving, getting him used to singles, doubles, triples, all the way up to 10 or 12. And then force fetch, that's important, and just taking them to blinds and, different scenarios, water, land, around a lot of decoys, stuff like that. And I was averaging about 2.5 months last year.
Okay.
That seemed to be the average. Now, a couple people were a little antsy to get their dog back, and I had a lot to do in a short amount of time, but a lot of them caught on pretty good. But as long as that owner was willing to get them out there and get the reps in, that's the main thing. But yeah, 2.5 months was about my average.
All right. So then that would mean the spring semester is going on now or starting soon?
Yeah, I just started last week. And I'm not getting too crazy yet. I last year I was doing like 7 at a time.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing 3 right now.
Okay.
We got just kind of easing back into things. I got a wedding going on, and I didn't want to send a bunch of dogs home for that. And let's not forget turkey season too. So I don't want to. One thing about turkey hunting, I don't want to. Trust me, I work these dogs twice a day, 5 days a week, and then on the weekends they get worked once a day. But I don't want to be sitting in the woods worrying about I need to do this, and that. So 3 is a little easier to manage.
Okay.
So I'm doing 3 right now, and then once we get these 3 finished, it'll be about June.
Okay.
And then we're gonna go full bore.
Okay. And then do you already have your list built up for June?
I got quite a few. I'm not quite sure if I'm booked all the way to, I think I went into mid-November last year.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm booked all the way to there, but I have to look. But I've got a lot of phone calls going on right now. It's just seeing who's all serious or what. But I mean, if anybody's got a pup and looking for training, they're more than welcome to get a hold of me on Facebook or at my cell phone, 618-535-9899. I mean, any hour of the day, feel free to get a hold of me.
Cool. And then like us with Ruben, he's 7 years old.
Yeah.
And he learned how to retrieve.
Yeah. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can, but it's a lot harder.
Okay.
It is a lot harder. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Just the whole idea of dog box training is where I'm like, I don't know.
Stuff like that, I think we could get him in shape for. Obedience and kennel stuff is easy. It's just basically at that point, as far as retrieving goes, is seeing if he wants to or not.
Okay.
And I'm guessing Ruben, like if he is retrieving, he probably just needs, once he got the swing of it, he probably just need a good force fetch class in about a week and a half, 2 weeks of that.
Okay.
Where he's actually holding it. He's not dropping it at your feet every time or,
okay.
You know what I mean? Or like I always call it shopping for birds, shopping for bumpers. Say you knock 2 or 3 birds down. And the dog grabs one, drops it, runs, grabs it, drops it, and just keeps going back and forth. Well, I'll correct that with force fetch and collar conditioning.
Okay.
And it's nothing real brutal. Everybody hears the word force fetch or collar conditioning and they think, oh, you're going to beat my dog to death or whatever. There's nothing like that going on. It's just as soon as you make that correction, it's over and on you go. But it don't take them long to catch on.
Okay. Yeah, it's like I'm hooked. Now. You've like single-handedly. I'm in a world of hurt now because of waterfowl, and a lot of it comes from you. I mean, you're the first person to really
take you out.
Yeah. I had gone on the river the once, and then it was a great experience. I just kind of knew where I ranked, and I wasn't going to get any of the good days or anything like that. So, coming out with you, how old were you?
When we first started hunting, man, I had to, when you come out waterfowling the first few times, I must say 16, 17, maybe 17 probably.
Okay.
Because the first year you hunted hard was like the year I graduated high school.
Really?
So,
all right.
I'm 33 now, so look at you. You got some years in now.
Oh my God. I'm definitely a weekend warrior when it comes to the waterfowl stuff, but there's just a couple of things that have just really set their hooks in. The first goose that I called in, like that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is the coolest thing ever. And now with the dog, so it's wild. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's take a quick break, and we can come back and talk a little snow goose action.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM Studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillan. I operate Monarch Rivers with a mission is simple, kill big deer. And for those of you just joining, Cole Foils, man, you got the foils calls. You got the guide service. Yeah, you got the dog training. I mean, how do you even introduce you?
People always ask, they say, what do you do for a living? I say, how much time you got?
That's awesome. So you just had a bang up snow goose season.
It was a good one, man. This was my 19th or 20th. I can't really remember on snow goose seasons.
Yeah.
And gosh dang it, I almost had my best one yet. We were in our top 3 best years.
That's awesome.
It was phenomenal. I get excited every snow goose season, but this one was good. Usually by now, like I was telling you before we started on here, I'm usually drifting off the turkeys now, and don't get me wrong, I'm getting to that point, but I'm still riding that snow goose cloud from this year. It was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
So if you were to sum it up and just, what was the overall effect? Like, what was the overall theme of this season?
Consistent.
Okay.
Consistent. And, it was just, we kept the morale up, always having a good time, and good things happened, man. And something needed done. We weren't scared to do the work and do it, make an adjustment. And
okay.
And like I said, just good camaraderie all the way through the season. No drama, no nothing. Everybody had a good time, and it was good, man. I seen some stuff I ain't seen in a few years with these snow geese. It was cool, and there's been a lot of question, as far as how we hunt them around here, permanent spreads. Is I know a few guys still get them here and there, but is 100 bird day still a thing, and I'll be dang if we didn't have our best day I've ever had out of my spread. We killed 144 one day, and it was unbelievable. We had like 80 by 8 o'clock. It was absolutely insane, but I don't want to jump through the season and get to that quite yet.
Okay.
We'll get into that. But no, I mean, it started out like a lot of snow goose seasons. Mm-hmm. I mean, when February started, it was cold, snow on the ground, whatever, which actually worked out great because we went to set up And I've went through the hard ground where you drill your stakes in, and I just kind of refuse to do that, especially when the weather's like that. Snow geese are still south. So what we did was, with the snow on the ground, I kind of took a rangefinder and shot the outside edges of the spread. And then what happens when you drive on the snow? You make tracks. So we drove a complete outline of how we wanted the spread. And then everybody that's there was pulling a trailer full of decoys. Hey, just pull inside the tracks and start throwing decoys out. So that was kind of a cool little redneck way, a little tip and tactic for you to set out your decoys. So we got them laid out. Then when the ground let up, we just didn't get in a big rush.
Yeah,
we let Mother Nature open things up for us, I guess you'd say. And once the ground loosened up, we bit down and got everything staked in. And I actually had went to around, I think it was like Valentine's Day weekend, so we're talking mid-February. I went to the NWTF show in Nashville, and when I come back Sunday and got ready Monday morning, it was time to go to war. And I think what was it? Pitt was hunted 38 days, and I was there for 36 of them.
Nice. Okay. That's awesome.
And it was just out the gate, man. I mean, February, I always say, seems like the Illinois River will kill more in February than we do. And then March, a light switch flips. February this year stayed consistent, like I said. I mean, even if on a day you might just kill 10, that's double digits.
Right.
I mean 10, 20, 30, 40, that adds up quick.
Yeah.
And it'd be 10, 15, 20, 12, 16. Well, I always said for like over there, whatever you kill in February is just for a bonus, what you're going to kill for the total, because March is always when you shine. Mm-hmm. And I've had years we killed 13 geese in February and ended up shooting 600.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when we went into March, we already had a couple geese killed for the year. So, hey, a good start, Mm-hmm. And when, like I said, like it always happens, that switch flipped and it was game on. March, them juveniles, some young geese started pushing. We started shooting them really good. And that big day, we'll get into that now. It was March 13th, Friday to 13th. Really? I'll never forget that. What a bad Friday to 13th to be a snow goose.
Yeah.
They come right out the gate that morning, right off the bat, and it was just chaos. I will say I got a little nervous. We did a count after we finally rounded up cripples and all that stuff. We had 95 geese, and it was dead for like an hour. And that was the longest hour of my life. Because I'm like, we don't you tell me we're done for the day. Little did I know we were going to shoot 50 more,
Right.
But it was a good time. We had a couple guys from out of town. It was kind of cool, too. One of my buddies from Michigan, he was wanting to come the weekend before. And I had told him for like a month, I'm like, come this weekend. I just got a feeling. And sure enough, it panned out. He was here for 2 days and killed, even if he was there that one day, it was worth the trip. But we killed 200 geese in a couple days. And
that's awesome.
It was unbelievable. But it just kept, how it is for us over there. And guys, we killed 140 something geese that day. We shot 40 the next day, and I was just as excited.
Yeah.
And you know how it is over there. You get into late March, and everybody's picking up, and we're still just pecking away that late March straggler hunting's what I always call it. And you might not see a lot, but the ones you see you're gonna get.
Yeah.
We had the last 5 hunts each day. I bet we didn't see 100 geese, but we killed 15, 20 a day. That adds up to whatever too. And one of the last geese of the year killed a leg band.
Really?
So that was icing on the cake. If anybody knows my band history, I'm usually pretty lucky when it comes to a band. Snow geese, not so much. I did our numbers. It was 11 years since we'd killed the last band out of my spread. 11 years.
That's crazy.
It was like, I forget, like over 5,000 geese since the last band had been shot. It was unbelievable. But yeah, it was an 18-year-old blue goose from Nunavut, Canada.
That's crazy. And you were showing me that band. Yeah. It's pretty worn out.
Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah, you can see how it's all wore.
Yeah.
The one thing you always know, too, nowadays, when you kill an old one, it says call 1-800-327-BAND. See, the old bands, you had to call your band in over the phone. talk to somebody, and then it was like Christmas after checking the mailbox for a month and getting your certificate. Now we do it online. But the funny thing is, because the new bands have a website on them, www.reportband.gov.
Okay.
So when I looked it up on my phone that day, it comes back and says, recheck information, band reading unusually old. So that's when you know you got a good one.
Yeah.
So, okay, hit it, and 18 years old. So that was just icing on the cake.
That's so wild.
Mm-hmm. It was, but the whole season, man, I mean, I had a lot of good clients in camp, a lot of return clients. That always makes things nice. It's like, they're paying for a hunt, but it's just like seeing old friends. You get the same thing in the deer business,
Mm-hmm.
seeing how everybody's doing and everything. Then I got some buddies that come down. I got, all the buddies that hunt with us. And it just seemed like there wasn't one man out all year. You get a weekend warrior guy who misses out on all the good days. Everybody had some good days this year.
That's awesome.
It didn't matter what day you come, it was going to be good.
Yeah. Man, that's just so fun. I've made so many friends hunting your blind.
Yeah.
I mean, so many friends.
I always love that too, because I got buddies from all over, and it's so cool by the end of a hunt seeing everybody like on a best friend basis by the end of the hunt.
Right. You still hunt with Wes Welker at all?
Well, no, he drug up from the snow goose game. He's a fisherman now. I've tried to get a hold of the guy. I'd like to get him back out there, but Wes Welker, wherever you're at out there, we miss you. Aaron's knee doesn't. But
yeah, he owes me a knee later in life.
Yeah.
So just to tell everybody, back in the day, do you still do this with?
No.
Okay.
No. So back when we were young and dumb, on a slow flight, when nothing was going on, we'd have a football in the pit. Everybody'd get out and play football, throw the ball around. We probably missed more geese than we should have. Right. Yeah. So I popped the ball pretty quick after that, but that's we used to toss the ball around. And anyway, kid juked Aaron out of his shoes in the decoy spread one day, and Aaron ended up at the hospital.
I didn't go to the hospital, but my knee.
We needed a stretcher.
We did. So that following turkey season, opening day, you hit me up like, how'd it go this morning? I'm like, I sat in the shack at the bottom of the hill. You were like, you what? I'm like, well, there was a thunderstorm coming in, and there was I'm like, I would not have been able to get out of there. I'm like, and you were like, huh?
I hunted with you the next day.
Yeah, you came the next day.
We climbed the hill, and it took you a good 30, 40 minutes to get up it. I was like, you need to get checked out, dude.
Yeah. It ended up, I think it was my kneecap was like, it's on the tendon there. I think something was off a little bit there. Finally, some tape. I went to a guy that taped it up, and that it went away, and then it's been good ever since.
Good old snow goose hunting battle scar.
Wes Welker, man, you don't put me on with muddy like Canada boots. Yeah, they're like just 10-pound cement blocks on each foot, trying to cover somebody that's half my size and a lot quicker. Running routes.
But no, like back to the snow geese though, man. Every year's pretty dang good, but this one was real special. And anybody who hunted with us this year, if they're listening, I had a great time this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned earlier you had seen geese do something you hadn't seen in a long time. You mentioned that does the 100-bird day still exist?
Yeah.
What were some of the other things that you saw geese do this year that you might not have, you might not always see every year?
When they come up through our area, we're basically dependent on a lot of river birds, and there's a Calhoun lays. There's a bluff runs right up through the center, and I know you guys get a lot of it on the Illinois River, but the bluff in the middle of the county, it seems like I don't get a lot of bluff birds anymore. We got a lot of bluff geese this year. And I always said those bluff geese, for whatever reason, when you seen them coming, get ready, because it wasn't any of this swing 10 times and then come in or hang up. It was like one pass and let's do it. And then there was several mornings like I was changing the meetup time at the parking lot to like another half hour earlier, and everybody's thinking, what are we getting up even earlier for? Well, there was a lot of like right at shooting time rounds this year, like birds that migrated all night and looking for a place to sit.
Okay.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of days you might sit there till 10 o'clock before you pop your gun off, but this year was like right out the gate, like shooting time, like before the sun's up, you know, like it, like right off the bat, like the nice bunches. Nice bunches.
Okay.
If you were a guy to show up later in the morning, you'd have missed out on a lot. I mean, it really was. And then, of course, like I said, that 100-bird day, that's nice.
Right.
And you just, you know, I've had a handful of them over the years, but I think it had been 6, 7, 8, been 9 years since I'd shot the last 100-bird day. So
really,
so that almost a decade, you know. So you kind of start to wonder, you know.
When people talk about snow goose hunting this area, and they're not from the area, it's I find it so important to try and explain, you know, flyaway hunting, permanent blind, because they might not totally understand the experience.
No, and the best thing you can tell people a lot that don't understand it, and this is anywhere you go snow goose hunt, the most consistent thing about a snow goose is they're inconsistent. Right. I heard that the other day. I was like, that is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. And I'll tell you another thing, like days where you would have said, man, or you did get out of bed and thought, man, this ain't the day, you know. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Some of the foggier mornings really helped us out this year.
Yeah, like we had a couple of them, you know, obviously when it's foggy, there's no wind. Well, no wind and clouds or fog can be a rough deal for a snow goose, you know. Man, we had a lot of them. You just swore you had a 15-mile-an-hour wind. They were decoying to perfection. I mean, it was good. I think we just had that steady trickle of birds coming from a far enough distance that were tired looking for a place, you know. Okay. And we staged a few birds this year too, like in the area. Well, a lot of times, you like Havana, that area, they got the power plant lakes and stuff. They are the big lakes and all that. They'll stage a lot of geese. Carlisle, they'll stage a lot of geese, the big lakes and everything. We're not one of those areas, but this year seemed like in February, especially, we staged a lot of geese. And that's your piggy bank. You're pecking off of that every day. Yeah, when there's no migrators.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting. So. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and a lot of guys are doing water spreads right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
And
I ran one for a couple years.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, some of these public areas, when you're talking about staging, that's where a lot of them, you know, will in fact stage. It's not necessarily going to be in Buffalo Bungalow or the other refuges.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's the state lake itself.
Yeah. And I'm curious if we are seeing, as that becomes more and more popular as a way to hunt, have you seen an impact in the migration?
You know, where I'm at, there's not as much of a state area type deal where they're going to stage at. But over on the Illinois side, like where you're at, there's a lot of that. And I mean, let's just face it, you got spreads and gun barrels blazing. They're not going to stay there very long. So it could hurt you, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 100% fair game to do. It's 100% legal. So them guys are more than welcome to do it. But
there's nothing wrong with it at all.
But as far as like stage birds going to stay on that lake or area, no, that ain't going to happen.
Right.
You're just going to have to hope they get on a refuge system or a pond up in the hills or whatever. The big one we had this year was it was actually, out of all things, it was a cement plant across the river in Missouri, straight across the river from us, and they got a big like quarry type pond on it or whatever, and that's what a lot of geese were sitting on. And there was geese on the refuge north of us and the refuge south of us, so we had kind of this trickle going. Some days it might hurt you, but a lot of days it helped you.
Right.
At least there's birds in the sky, and you had hope. You know, you're going to pull a few here and there. And it was kind of cool. I mean, if they went out and you didn't get any, don't sweat it. If you know, on the way in, you're going to get a few. Or if you get them right off the bat going out, you might not get them coming back. But, hey, as long as you're getting them.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Something else that was pretty interesting this year, and, you know, I don't know if you have any thoughts on it or not, but we just had some crazy warm-ups, and then it would cool down real cold.
A lot of that.
And then warm up real good, and then cool down. And
yeah.
Then a lot of times with the cold air and the warm air meeting, that's where you get these big storms.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, again, I'm a deer guy, you know, but when I look at a few years ago when that tornado hit Nashville real bad, that was such a big storm. To me, it seemed like it screwed up the migration a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you see anything in the weather patterns that may have made the migration better or worse this year?
Better or worse? You know, like I said, it was steady, consistent, so I can't really say that. But one thing we talked about, I keep saying it was steady, but I'm not saying that the sky was full of geese heading north every single day. That wasn't the case. We compared last year to this year, and we think we saw half the birds we saw last year. We just had the right amount that were, like I said earlier, probably staying a little far south to be tired enough when they made it to us. Mm-hmm. And you know, we'll see what happens next year. But we did change the decoy spread up too. I ran some callers a little different than I normally do. So, and one thing anymore too. There's a lot of strategy in those callers. There is. But as far as like the weather, yeah, I mean, one thing it did kind of do a couple times, I think, when things might have started pushing a little hard, like you said, we get them cold fronts and kind of, hey, give them a reality check. Okay. Kind of keep things slowed down and, like I said, consistent instead of them blowing through. Okay. You know, I did see that.
So that may have led to like...
Or they're pushing on, you know, man, we got a week of south winds or no wind. They're going to fly high and push hard. Well, here come 3 days of 30-mile-an-hour north winds. Well, you can kill geese good on a north wind, but you got to remember they're fighting that wind. They can, instead of covering 500 miles, they might cover 50, you know.
Right.
But a high wind day, we kill a lot of geese on too. And it can be your worst enemy as your friend. But you got to make sure a lot of times you got your collars set right for that high wind to give you a better shot. And one thing good about a high wind a lot, they ain't flying so high. They're low. They're low.
Now, when you say get your collars right, are you talking volume or positioning?
A lot of it. So we just talked about high winds, so I'll talk about that. Something a guy could maybe put in his back pocket. So I started doing this a few years ago. For these permanent spreads, we're all guilty of it. We like to put our speakers where they're going to go for the year, and we hook the collars up and call it good for the year. What I started doing on a high wind is say, we're not going to say north, south, east, or west. We'll just say the wind's blowing 30, 40 mile an hour from the right. Yeah. So the geese are going to come in from the left. The geese decoy into the wind. So instead of leaving them collars all around here or wherever, I'll put every collar except for one. I'll move every collar upwind to the right where this wind's coming from. You know what I mean? Yeah. Upwind. So they got to come. And if you got the patience, if you're the call shot guy and you got the patience, you can let those geese go all the way to the call, dang near past you to that call. And then instead of them hanging up and sliding, they're getting all the way up to you. And you shoot them, and then the wind blows them back through you, and you got more shots. Versus, like, if you had a called downwind, and maybe you got the volume a little too high, they're going to hang up and slide or whatever. But that one call I was talking about that doesn't go upwind, I always keep one caller on the pit next to me at all times. It's got one speaker on it, and I follow them with that speaker everywhere I go. Everywhere they go, I'm following them. Okay. But it's just like setting spinners or your flyers or anything. If on a hard wind like that, move that stuff upwind. So they got to go to it instead of, hanging up on you. And that can be so frustrating when they hang up. Same thing. Like say You got a no-win day. I mean, I'll run callers a lot lower. It's just like a guy duck hunting and on a no-win day, and here comes some ducks, and he starts highballing at them. He's going to blow them out.
Yeah.
You know, run your volumes low. A windier day, maybe run them a little higher. But never feel afraid to go out and see if maybe your caller, your speakers sound a little pingy on a sound or whatever. If it sounds off, turn it down a little.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Thinking about how you're positioning the birds, basically for where your shooters are, and then almost getting your second chance based on the wind when they go to hightail out of there. They got to use the wind. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like here's another thing. I mean, it's just like for years when I first started hunting them, probably the first 10, 12 years, we set our collars out and we didn't turn them on until we saw geese. And nowadays, every caller's running at all times. Mm-hmm. You know, it's the beauty of that. We're all human. We all get tired of standing and looking for geese. We want to sit down and talk about what so-and-so did the night before or tell a story.
Yeah.
Long as those calls are on and you're sitting down in the pit, you're never out of the game. Those calls are playing. We kill so many geese because them calls were on. Mm-hmm. Now it's nice to have a guy looking if you need to crank one up on a high bunch or whatever and point the speaker at them or whatever. But no, leave them calls on. Let them run. They're live recordings of real geese. You know, I mean, you're never out of the ball game.
Right. And then when you're pointing, let's say you got a group of birds. They usually there's 1 or 2, 3, 4 that are breaking off that are the ones that are the most interested in coming in and for a closer look. Are you working those lead birds that are trying to break off, or are you just trying to work the group as a whole still?
It's just whatever they're going to give me.
Okay.
I'm going to point that speaker at that group. I'm going to turn that volume up. Now, I mean, if they're let's just say the back 3 break off, group's going on, but then back 3 are, you know how snow geese, they'll break. They kind of come, they want to go back to the group. They're kind of on that, all right, on the fence deal.
Yeah.
I'll just keep turning it up until they pull. But it's kind of goes to what comes up must go down. Now, as they get lower, you got to remember to start turning that volume down, but you can't turn it down too drastically, or else that's going to be a big change, and boop, they're gone. So it's a tricky scenario. I talked to a lot of the guys that hunt with me, and they're like, I don't know how you do it. And I said, what do you mean? They're like, oh, you are hitting more remote knobs, volumes up and down, you're twisting around. I mean, you got to be half DJ.
I was just gonna say you're DJ Cole out there. If I had that wah wah sound, I'd be doing it right now. DJ Cole.
But that's literally the game. But it's funny how they've changed and got smarter. Used to, you never thought about doing anything like that, but they're getting smarter.
Yeah, I mean, you're working speakers, you're working callers, remotes.
Yep.
You still have that older style with the dial. That's super DJ Cole right there. And then, you know, in the past you'd be flagging too.
Oh,
like
I flag
the
a
whole
little.
deal.
Now, I mean, I'll go over some flagging technique on that too. Flag's a very beautiful thing to have. I mean, I've killed a lot of geese because of a snow goose flag, but we're all guilty of this too. If you got 4 or 5 flags in the blind, 4 or 5 guys want to be the flagger. That's great when they're up high. Mm-hmm. What happens is on them last couple swings, though, everybody's at the same time, their hunting instinct kicks in. I need to hit this one more time and, you know, center them up. Well, what'll happen is 4 or 5 guys hit it at once, and it looks like a whole group getting up versus one just kind of hovering. So what I always tell my guys, once they start breaking, once they're down in there on that last swing, just let me hit them or whatever, because that's another thing. Everybody thinks as a pit boss or something, a guy wants to hunt the corner or whatever. I'm not like that. I hunt in the middle. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple reasons for that. When I hit that flag, they're coming to the center. Mm-hmm. If a shot's good for me, shot's good for the whole pit. Same thing with the speaker. They come to that sound, the shot's good for me, it's good for the whole pit. And on a no-win day, you're going to have a single or two that wants to hit a corner or whatever. I have so much more easier on me to look off each end and be like, okay, go ahead and shoot that one.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot.
So there's just a lot of things that you can do. But I do. Everybody's like, why aren't you on a corner? At Centers killed a lot of geese.
Right.
For being right there,
Right. A lot of people think corner's the best spot in the house.
Oh yeah.
Which it can be. Because you're getting, whatever swing is going on.
I try to look in a group and try to pick out the sharpshooters and, make sure they're on the corners or a guy who's running the dog or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Find the guys that are, a little bit more. Because you get that single, those are the free throws of waterfowl.
Yes.
So you got to have somebody.
That's what people watch this snow goose hunting, and they see these big groups, and they're like, "That's what it's about." I'm not gonna lie to you. One of my top 5 favorite hunts I ever had was we killed 34 geese and 32 were singles. I love a single. Yeah. I love a single. That was one thing this year. We killed some singles, but we didn't have a lot of them this year. We shot a lot of not like groups and stuff, but them singles don't add up as fast. But boy, they're pretty.
Right. Hey, it doesn't matter to me how they come in, just as long as they come in.
Absolutely.
That's the thing about snow goose hunting.
Absolutely.
It might be a flight day, and they might be a mile tall.
Uh-huh.
Then it's just like watching thousands.
Nothing works like a snow goose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's truly amazing. I got videos I've took of them working and stuff this year and prior years. Never gets old watching them.
No, man. It's so, I don't know. It's like that white off the blue sky.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yep.
Did you guys have any big tornadoes this year?
Yeah, a couple days we had some good ones, and I mean that was another thing. It seemed like this year when you pulled one, you pulled them all, and man, when you got every goose in the sky and you're controlling them, there's not much greater feeling. I love that, and a lot of times, honestly, on a shot calling end of the deal, you watch that and it can blow up in your face pretty quick and not get a thing. And there's been times too where I look around and there's only, let's say it's a Monday or something, there's 2 of us on. If we get 10 or 12 in here to shoot right, we better just shoot them because we're going to do the same on them as we're going to do in the group. But but like a couple of them big days we had this year, big groups were doing it, and where I would try to call the shot best I could if the opportunity would provide itself. You'd get that main mass of them right in, but the back half, I'd wait till they crossed. So you got, they're layered.
Yeah.
So when I say, shoot them, when you come up, when you shoot one, you're probably killing 2 or 3. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're so mixed up. And that's when them tubes on them guns come in handy. Spray and pray, let her eat.
Yeah. That was fun. I got to... I was shooting a tube this year. We had a locker, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was just trying everybody else's guns when they weren't there.
You're due for one, man. You can get one.
I am. We'll talk about that when we talk turkey, but
yeah.
I'm gonna kill a longbeard with this gun, and then I'm gonna get in the market.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I got a few options for you.
All right. I like it. Let's take a quick break. Hear a word from the sponsors. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM Studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillan. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. For those of you just joining, Cole Foils is in the house, and we've been talking a lot of snow goose. Cole, you mentioned earlier some of the adjustments that you made this year.
Yeah.
I'm always curious about, the decoy adjustments. I'm the type of guy, I'm always thinking, how can I improve? If a lot of times it's like they're just adults, that's why they didn't work. But it's like, I want to kill every one of them I can. So if I can do something to convince one more adult to come in, I want to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
So what are some of the physical decoy adjustments that you had alluded to earlier?
Well, one thing when you're setting a decoy spread, look at your layout of your field what it'll kind of allow you to do. Like for years and years when I hunted my old pit, you hunted with me. It was a real narrow field, had tree lines in it. I couldn't really go side to side. It was just kind of a straightforward deal. And the classic snow goose spread that's been ran for years and years and years is a teardrop spread. And for those of you who don't know what a teardrop is, it literally, your spread looks like a big teardrop. The mass is where it kind of rounds off, and you kind of got a hole where from the land in the front of you. Well, the spot I'm at now, we kind of did the same thing last year. It was a double. It kind of ran off each end of the pit. Well, we had a good season last year, but there was a few days things went a little squirrely or whatever, you know, where you thought, you know, we did all right, but we should have did better. So I'm not going to lie. We had our directions mixed up there. For what we thought was north and south was actually east and west. None of us really thought much on maybe it's pulling a compass out. It was kind of a northeast, southwest type deal. It was we weren't completely wrong, but it just wasn't quite what we thought. You get a lot of birds, and we ran it real long. And I mean, I think you can run a snow goose spread long as you want, but when you got other spreads in the area, you're kind of giving them more of that option to maybe go check something else out. Okay. So this year we ran a compass, and north and south wasn't out the front of the pit and out the back; it was left and right. So we ran basically just this big long mass of decoys, you know, left and right of the pit, which was a straight north and south. We sat in the dead center of this, and then we ran a little kill hole right in front of the pit. I always like to have some kind of hole there. I mean, something. So we did that, and then we were very strategic when we put them out too. So we put all the full bodies out first throughout the whole thing. And, of course, around your pits, your mass, you want to have them tight. It hides you, and two, it lets them know where the party's at. But when we put socks out, we made sure we evenly distributed socks throughout the whole thing. I think a lot of guys will make a mistake is they put a lot of their full bodies out where the party's at around the blind or whatever, and then they run out of full bodies. Well, we'll just use socks for the end of the spread. Well, on a windy day, full bodies don't quite move as much, and socks can get a little carried away at times, and I think that just leaves a fine line, and you'll find geese slide a lot off of that. So we wanted to make sure everything was even, because let's face it too, on a light wind, when a full body ain't going to move, a sock's going to move. Do something. Right. So you had that even, you know, distributed socks and full bodies mixed together throughout the whole thing, so it just made it a little more realistic. Okay. And like I said, we got her facing north and south. And I think what it did, running it wherever, I forgot to mention, behind us only probably ran 20 yards, like the back part of the spread behind us, the line. Okay. So the backside of the spread. So if a goose tried to slide the backside, it was game over. But what I'm saying is 3/4 of the party was out in front of us. And what I noticed is even on those days when a goose wasn't just going to give it up completely, it kept them there for more of an option. You know, you're always going to get an opportunity to shoot versus work a goose, and then he leaves you. So it just opened up a lot more opportunity. And I will say we shot a lot more boots down geese this year, and I liked it. But like I said, when anybody hunts a field at all, just kind of look at it, get your directions right, and just kind of see what makes sense, you know.
So when you're talking about that and get your directions right, basically, you know, your wind is where your geese are going to eventually light from. And you went long ways. Sounds like north to south.
Yeah, north to south.
And so that way with like a southeast or a southwest of variation, you still have that length for the geese to kind of come in and work up, as to where before it sounds like it was like a southeast to northwest or a southwest to northeast type thing, where on those predominant winds they weren't able to quite work the way you wanted them to.
So you know, you get a lot of winds are going to be a north or south, and the best day seemed like I got some kind of west in them. Well, west was at her back, so it was either going to put them in your face coming right to left or left to right. You know what I mean? So you always had them coming in right there, and let's just face it, none of us really like an east wind. You know, they say east the least, but but hunting pits, you can shoot 360, and if it was an east and they come over the back, like I said, the spread was only 20 yards. The edge was only 20 yards behind you. When they slid up it was game over.
That's awesome.
So we kind of had them any way they wanted to do it. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, like your traditional spreads, like if you were hunting feeds or something, you're always on the head end of the spread. We're sitting in the middle. Well, because we're going to hunt a different wind every day, you know. But what I also saw was like those geese are looking for one thing that's wrong. Well, they're going north end to south end. Well, they're not really keying too much on the middle. And so they weren't really looking at us, and they'd come up that middle, and it was game over, you know. But then the ones, when you had them, you know, really wanting to decoy good, here's the thing too. A lot of them's coming to the sound, and the sound's around the pit. Mm-hmm. So that helps a lot too. But like I said, it was a good kind of hiding technique, but also keeping them in a good, nice area for you know, guys to shoot, and for winds that made sense, you know, for makes sense for any winds you were going to get. And one thing I noticed too out of that pit, for some reason, the year before, the shooting out front, and this is about anywhere you hunt, the shooting out front on a group was lights out. The shooting out back kind of fell off a little bit. So this put 90% of the shooting out front, no matter what, and a lot more piles.
You think it's because it's harder to get up and turn?
I think especially get an older guy or like I'm guiding a lot of people that says maybe they're 1 or 2 hunts a year.
Yeah.
They're not used to going full Rambo, do a wheel move, shoot out the back or whatever. Even though I'm telling them, get ready, we're going to shoot these over back. You know, everybody just has a human instinct, I guess, to think, oh, we're going to shoot everything right out front. Well, I always, when I have a safety speech and go ahead tell how the hunt's going, always kind of let them know, you know, what the wind's doing and how we're going to shoot them. But that's one thing I communicate a lot. But this just made things easier, and it showed.
That's awesome. Well, being a big guy, and we had a blind this year.
Yeah.
I did not design said blind, so I ended up having to wear a helmet. It was a lucky helmet.
Yeah.
As soon as I put it on, we killed one of those dark Rossies, but that was the actual day that I put that helmet on.
Really? Yeah. So, now I understand why you wore it every day, other than saving yourself from a concussion or two.
But getting up and turning was
which I'll be honest, we're talking about this in a blind, a pit, whatever. I love an over the back shot. I don't know why. It's like they don't see you coming. Yeah. It's like you can dang near stand up and shoulder your gun and be ready, and they have no idea. But it's just not, I guess, not fitting for a lot of people. You know,
it's not as natural.
It's no. But that's one thing I'm terrible about. I got to sit there and think, you do this every day. They're doing this a few times a year. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know, just from everything we've talked about from start to finish, we just had a lot of off-season thoughts and strategy and put it all together, and my goodness, was the reward great. I'm ready for next year.
Man, I'm glad you guys had a banger.
And one other thing I was going to bring up with decoys, like flyers. When I started out, we'd run 40, 50 flyers. Anymore, I'm running half a dozen. And I used to, I certain days I might put them up on taller poles, but a lot of them this year, man, we ran them real low. Them geese tried to hang up behind them. They tried to hang up a little on them low ones. They were in the hole, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we there's a lot of cool stuff to kill a snow goose out there, but we kept it pretty old school and simple.
That's awesome.
Less for them to pick something bad out on.
Yeah. Well, man, thank you very much for coming by.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you.
Absolutely, buddy.